The unknown citizen, the title of the poem, is introduced here, emphasizing the idea that the subject is an anonymous, unremarkable figure. To JS 07M 378, this marble monument is erected by the state. The poem opens with the dedication of a marble monument erected by the state in memory of a man identified only by a series of letters and numbers, JS 07M 378. This immediately creates a sense of anonymity and impersonality around the man, as though he is just a number rather than a unique individual. He was found by the Bureau of Statistics to be. The use of the passive voice here further depersonalizes the subject, making it seem as though he was discovered by an impersonal government agency rather than actively living his life. One against whom there was no official complaint. The subject is described as someone who never ran afoul of the law or did anything to draw negative attention from the authorities. And all the reports on his conduct agree. This line suggests that the subject was a model citizen who consistently followed the rules and norms of society. That, in the modern sense of an old-fashioned word, he was a saint. The speaker acknowledges that the subject may have been morally upright, but also notes that this quality is somewhat outdated or old-fashioned. For in everything he did, he served the greater community. The subject is described as someone who was always looking out for the greater good and acted in service to society as a whole. Except for the war till the day he retired. The speaker notes that the subject did not serve in the military during a time of war, but this is presented as a minor deviation from an otherwise perfect record. He worked in a factory and never got fired. The subject is described as someone who worked steadily and reliably in a factory, never losing his job, but satisfied his employers, Fudge Motors Inc. The speaker notes that the subject's employers were happy with his work, but the mention of Fudge Motors Inc. is somewhat comical and suggests that the company is not particularly important or significant. Yet he wasn't a scab or odd in his views. The subject is described as someone who did not cause trouble at work or hold any unconventional beliefs. For his union reports that he paid his dues. Even the subject's involvement in a union is presented in a positive light, as he is described as someone who paid his dues and followed the rules. Our report on his union shows it was sound. This opening line suggests that the citizen was a member of a labor union and that he paid his dues. The parenthesis indicates that the report is coming from a bureaucratic organization, and the phrase, "it was sound," implies that everything was in order with the citizen's union membership. And our social psychology workers found that he was popular with his mates and liked to drink. This line suggests that the citizen was sociable and enjoyed drinking. It also implies that the government was monitoring his social behavior through its social psychology workers, raising questions about individual privacy and government surveillance. The press are convinced that he bought a paper every day and that his reactions to advertisements were normal in every way. Here, the poem suggests that the citizen was an avid reader of newspapers and was susceptible to advertising. The phrase, "normal in every way," suggests that the citizen's behavior was predictable and that he was unlikely to challenge the status quo. Policies taken out in his name prove that he was fully insured, and his health card shows he was once in hospital but left it cured. These lines suggest that the citizen was responsible and took out insurance policies to protect himself and his family. The reference to the citizen's hospital stay implies that he had access to health care when he needed it. Both produces research and high-grade living declare he was fully sensible to the advantages of the installment plan and had everything necessary to the modern man: a phonograph, a radio, a car and a Frigidaire. This stanza suggests that the citizen was a consumer who embraced modern conveniences such as a phonograph, radio, car, and refrigerator. The mention of the installment plan implies that the citizen was able to afford these items through installment payments, which may have led to debt. Our researchers into public opinion are content that he held the proper opinions for the time of year. When there was peace, he was for peace. When there was war, he went. These lines suggest that the citizen was politically correct and held the same opinions as the majority. The phrase, "proper opinions," implies that there is a prescribed set of opinions that citizens are expected to hold, raising questions about individual freedom of thought and expression. He was married and added 5 children to the population, which our eugenist says was the right number for a parent of his generation. This line suggests that the citizen was a family man who had 5 children, which is considered the right number by the eugenist. This reference to eugenics, a now discredited scientific theory that advocated for selective breeding, adds another layer of critique to the poem's satirical tone. And our teachers report that he never interfered with their education. This line suggests that the citizen was a model parent who did not interfere with his children's education. The reference to teachers reporting on the citizen's behavior raises questions about the role of education in shaping individual identity and conformity. Was he free? Was he happy? The question is absurd. Had anything been wrong, we should certainly have heard. These lines highlight the irony and bleakness of the poem's message. The speaker, a government official or bureaucrat, is reflecting on the life of the unknown citizen, who is celebrated as a model of perfect conformity and obedience to society's norms. Despite this praise, the speaker is unable to answer the fundamental questions of whether the citizen was truly free and happy.